Dead Space has had a lot of things to overcome to prove itself. It's a completely new IP without an established universe, and it's the new kid on the survival horror block. A block that has become very crowded with stale gameplay and subpar snorefests. Will horror fans rejoice? Not only is this game an excellent example of the genre, but it's definitely the start of what could be an excellent franchise. You play as Isaac Clarke, an ordinary engineer who's been sent with a small maintenance crew to investigate the USG Ishimura, the crown jewel of the planet-cracking fleet. Communications have been cut off with the ship, and something is obviously very, very wrong. Isaac also has a vested interest in the Ishimura because he's also searching for someone very important to him who's been stationed on the ship.
Strange. Such a little thing.
This may sound like the standard setup to many a horror sci-fi story, but the story is quite good. There are actual twists and turns during the course of the narrative, and a solid conclusion that ties things together, something that's increasingly become a rarity in gaming. The seeds of a franchise have also been planted, and thankfully the universe is deep enough to support whatever sequels may come from it. The gameplay is similar to Resident Evil 4. It's an over-the-shoulder, third-person action game, and you can rotate the camera around your character in most circumstances. This perspective really lends to the claustrophobic and general tense atmosphere of the game. There's no quick turn in the game, so keep that in mind. It seems to be an intentional design choice to make you feel more vulnerable. Things aren't perfect, though. While the zero-gravity segments are great to play through, there are sections during these moments where the camera becomes locked and you can get hit by monsters without knowing where it's coming from. This can get frustrating very fast. There's also a nav icon that triggers when you push in the right stick, and this can sometimes put you on the wrong path, or spin you around for no reason. A less serious, and even amusing issue is that your stomp is kind of wonky. You can sometimes hit things above you that you really shouldn't be able to reach. That is one mighty stomp indeed. From the aesthetic point of view, Dead Space is superb. The game is very atmospheric and is a regular cornucopia of movie and sci-fi references. Event Horizon, the Alien series, John Carpenter's The Thing, all these influences and more find their way into the twisted world of Dead Space. Fans of horror will not be disappointed. Another thing the game does right is immerse you fully. There's no HUD. All important info is shown on your suit or via pop-up holographic video screens. The sound design is excellent and voice acting is strong across the board. When this game isn't busy freaking you out, it's at least causing you to feel unsettled. Visually, the graphics are very sharp. There's some pixelated effects that I'm not a fan of, but generally it's extremely good. There's a nice attention to detail in both the environments and the monsters, and the gore is suitably gruesome. There is some slowdown from time to time, but this is by no means a regular thing. One really nice touch is that there's a New Game Plus mode, where all your upgrades transfer over to a new game. Unfortunately, you can't switch between difficulty settings when you choose this mode, and it's just baffling why they didn't include that as an option. At any rate, there are 4 difficulty levels, and you won't be able to upgrade everything in one go-through. Couple this with extras that are unlocked, and you'll see that there's definitely more than enough reason to play through the game multiple times. One thing that did kind of bug me, though, is that there is some backtracking in the game. Now, it actually makes sense in the context of the plot, but it does make it feel like the Ishimura is smaller than it actually is. You're always going through some of the same areas. Luckily, the environments are varied visually enough and large enough to make up for that, but it's still something to keep in mind. Dead Space is not just Resident Evil 4 in space. This game might not have been on a lot of people's radars, but it fully deserves your attention. Fans of the genre should rejoice. Dead Space will hook you before it attempts to rend you limb from limb. For the full written review, head over to IGN.com.